Ladies and gentlemen, it has almost been the 1-year anniversary of the Nintendo Switch 2, and June of 2026 is packed full of some very exciting games, some really fun games, also some games that look very interesting that are probably going to fly under the radar. So in this video, we're going to go over all the games that are currently announced for the Switch 2 in June of 2026 that you need to know about. Let's go and get right into this video. Yeah, that's right. We are at the 1-year mark of the Switch 2. And, you know, I do think there's some things that could have been better for the first year, some games I would have liked to see. But at the same time, I think there's some games that I never expected. And I feel like that trend's going to continue, and June has some of those games. So before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe, that would truly mean the world to me. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Like, what are you doing? So we can keep our communities growing. And let's go and get right into this video. So we are starting off June with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and this is releasing June 3rd for the Nintendo Switch 2. And that sentence right there sounds crazy. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is releasing for the Switch 2, and it's not a cloud version? Yeah, some kind of wizardry and magic is going on. But, you know, we've already seen the demo, and go ahead and play that demo if you're curious, but yeah, this game is playable on the Switch 2, and I know I sound like I'm repeating myself, but it's just so crazy to think about, especially coming from the Nintendo Switch, a console I dearly loved that was extremely underpowered, but was still able to work magic. But the Switch 2, I don't even know if it's magic, man. I've said it before, I feel like Square Enix and Capcom, these two companies, they just get together and they smoke crack in a good way, and they figure out how to get games on the Switch 2 running fantastically. I've already beat Final Fantasy Remake and Rebirth on my PS5, and re-experiencing these on the Switch 2, you know, it's just a magical moment. So this is the best way possible to start off June. Now let's talk about a fantastically unique game called 2AT. 2AT is a narrative adventure game that portrays the extraordinary life of a 13-year-old teenager whose body happens to be in the shape of the letter T. They live in a modest seaside town that they explore by foot, train, or even their favorite unicycle, and interact with a charming cast of characters who live there. So this is really interesting because, you know, it's almost like a normal game with a weird twist, and that weird twist just unravels a really, really cool adventure. The story will take part and unfold over multiple days while a teen finds a way to fit in and discover a newfound sense of self. There's also a bunch of minigames to play that have weird scenarios, and you have to figure out how to like approach those because your body is in the shape of a T, and it just seems really charming, really, really cool. So I definitely wanted to highlight this one. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention 2AT releases June 11th. Now normally, under normal circumstances, I feel like I wouldn't even care about the next game we're going to talk about, but this one for some reason has my interest piqued, and that's Monopoly Star Wars Heroes vs. Villains. So, you know, at first you're like, okay, Monopoly, man, so cool, right? But it's not just Monopoly. And side note, I actually bought Monopoly on the Switch years ago and I played the hell out of it. But this is really cool because it's like an interactive Monopoly game with Star Wars characters. Assemble your team, build your roster of iconic Star Wars characters, and battle with your friends and family for control of the galaxy as you move across storied planets and locations. Choose from a wide array of Star Wars heroes and villains, each with their own unique abilities. Whether you're teaming up with Luke Skywalker or unleashing Darth Vader, every match is packed with team strategies, surprises, and classic Star Wars moments, and no two battles will unfold the same way. All that sounds cool, but essentially it is just Monopoly. But this one looks really fun, so that is why I'm talking about it in this video. Monopoly Star Wars Heroes vs. Villains will also be releasing June 11th. Another game that is releasing on June 11th is UNRAILED 2 Back on Track. UNRAILED 2 Back on Track brings chaotic local and online multiplayer track building action to the next level. Band together with friends to collaborate and build your track across new procedurally generated worlds while the train is running. So think fast with more freedom than ever before. And what's interesting is, like, depending on how you're building your track, right? Say you go a certain way. When you go that certain way, it will branch off and have 3 or 4 multiple other options. So depending on where you go, it's almost like a choose your own adventure thing. And I know that doesn't make sense, but that's the vibes that I get from it. I remember playing the first game and really enjoying it, and then never thinking about the game truly ever again. So when I seen this, I said, yeah, that one looks a little bit better. And it's cool. It's almost like a, what is that game where you're like fixing stuff in a house, multiplayer? And then there's another game I think called Moving Out. And then there's a few other games that kind of give you the same vibes. They're almost like fun little party games to play with friends and family. So yes, these games are not going to be for everybody. But this one just looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So at the very last partner showcase, there was a game that they showed off and it just clicked for me. I said, oh my God, I have to play this. And that's a game called DENSHATTACK. And this is releasing June 17th. So the funnest way I like to explain this game is it's like Tony Hawk, but you're using a bus or something, and it doesn't make sense on paper. But the gameplay, that does make sense. You know, that's what we're here for, is the gameplay. Flip, trick, and grind your train in a fast-paced, off-the-rails ride through a colorful Japanese dystopia. Hop aboard your custom gravity-defying train and embark on a hectic quest to defeat a sinister corporation alongside a vibrant pack of outcasts. Ollie, kickflip, and grind your way through Japan's biggest cities, as well as a world of meadows, volcanoes, and oceans. Rack up points, chase that sweet high score as you flip, trick, and stick the landing in your customizable ride. So, I mean, when I said it was like a skateboarding Tony Hawk game with trains, I was not kidding. And this sounds awesome. Now my personal most anticipated game for June is The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tales, and this is releasing on June 18th. So when they first showed this game off, I can't remember if it was like a partner showcase or what, but there was 2 Square Enix games shown off in that same showcase or whatever, and they showed off, I think, Octopath Traveler 0, but then they showed this off at the end, and I was like, what is that, another Octopath game? But then it started, revealing itself. And then they put out the first demo. Then they put out another demo. And yes, this game is getting compared to classic Zelda a lot. And in my opinion, that's not a bad thing at all. But it has that Square Enix charm and those beautiful HD 2D graphics. And I think, you could say this about a lot of Square Enix games, but I think Square Enix has something very, very special here. After the discovery of unknown ruins, the adventurer Elliot and his fairy sidekick Faye brave through the dangers outside the kingdom on a journey across 4 ages to fulfill a 1,000-year mission. I mean, you even have a little fairy sidekick like Navi. Now you have Faye, right? It has the Zelda comparisons, but that's exactly what I'm looking for, man. So I cannot wait to play through this entire game. Now let's talk about The Necromancer's Tale, which is releasing June 24th for the Nintendo Switch 2. Commune with the realm of the dead and struggle with your descent into madness. This is a story-rich gothic RPG. Master the rituals of an ancient spellbook, raise an undead army to march against your enemies, progress through secrecy, diplomacy, blackmail, coercion, and seduction until you're ready to reveal yourself. So I didn't know much about this game. It did give me like Baldur's Gate, Divinity Sin 2, whatever the hell that game's called. It gave me those vibes, right? Something from Larian Studios. I watched a video review of this after somebody played it for 100 hours. And after watching that review, I came away pretty impressed by it. So, not everybody's into these. It's almost like a PC RPG, right? Something you would play on PC. And I do believe this was on PC for a while, and now it's finally coming to consoles. But if you're into that, or you're open to those games, they can be really special. And this game has a ton of detail. Over 400,000 words of handwritten narrative. It has unique interactions with over 180 NPCs. There's branching paths depending on what you do early in the game. It will affect the game later. There's multiple endings. This is one of those games that's probably going to fly under the radar, but if you give it a chance, man, I feel like there's something really special here. And easily the biggest game releasing on the Nintendo Switch 2 in June is Star Fox, and this is releasing June 25th. And it's funny, it's a Star Fox remake of probably another remake, but now it is just called Star Fox, and I think that is the right idea. At first I was wondering, why are they just calling it Star Fox? But I think, Star Fox as a whole, moving forward, they want this to be the starting point. So yeah, just calling it Star Fox makes a lot of sense. Now I will admit, out of all the Nintendo franchises, Star Fox is one of the ones I have played the least. So much that we played Star Fox 64 on stream a few weeks ago. And yeah, I mean, it's still cool, and I like the characters. But that game is very primitive now. So I never played the one on GameCube. I never played the Wii U version. But from an outsider looking in, it looked like those games were a pretty quality experience. But from the outside looking in, again, looking at those games and then looking at this on the Switch 2, it is a huge leap in quality. Now, we did get a pretty substantial Star Fox Direct, right? And they showed us quite a few things in there, as well as multiplayer and that weird face capturing technology that's very uncanny, but still very impressive. But if I had to guess, still, there's probably going to be some pretty big surprises. You know, Nintendo likes to throw in some little weird and whimsical stuff here and there. I think it's given people like me, who are not the biggest Star Fox fan, an opportunity to get into the franchise, and then people who are diehard fans, it's just a love letter to the franchise, right? So yeah, I'm very excited for Star Fox, man. And last month, when I made this video for upcoming Switch 2 games coming in May, at the end of that video, I had a prediction and it came true. I said, I'm almost certain that Mina the Hollower is coming in May, and I gave you some reasons. So I'm giving you another prediction, but the morning that this video comes out, that prediction will have came true or not already. And that prediction is Dragon Quest XI Nintendo Switch 2 Edition is coming out in June, right? We've seen a ratings for Dragon Quest XI for the Switch 2, and the day this video is coming out, there is a Dragon Quest live stream at 7 a.m. and I'm not going to be up for that. And I'm pretty sure they're going to reveal the Switch 2 edition there or announce it. It could shadow drop the same day, but it being the end of the month, I feel like they're probably going to wait for June. So that's just a prediction I have, that Dragon Quest XI Switch 2 edition is coming in June. Can I keep my track record of 100% predictions? We'll see. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys are thinking, because your opinion matters most. What games are you looking forward to playing on your Switch 2 in June the most? It's a pretty stacked month, and it's the 1-year anniversary of the Switch 2, and there's going to be a huge Nintendo Direct this month, and there's probably going to be some shadow drops. So this is just what we know right now. And if you made it all the way to this part of the video, if you could do me a favor, hit a like and subscribe on the way out. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter on the way out, and consider becoming a channel member. It's the ultimate way to support this community, and it would really mean the world to me. And you guys know me, I'll see you very soon with a new video. Peace.